Yo, welcome back to the No Cut Sports Podcast with your host, Frazier. And you already know, man, a little different scenery today. Your boy on vacation, but it's my last day. And I figured I'd get a video out since it's been so long. And just wanted to talk to y'all, make sure everybody was good. But we do got some things to talk about. I don't know how long the video will be, but I do appreciate y'all, bearing with me in this little situation that I'm in right now. So, with that being said, man, hopefully everybody's doing well. When I get back, I know we've been talking about giving away a free Eagles jersey, so I will be doing that sometime this upcoming week. Maybe probably go live because I want to make sure I get this off. I know it's been a while, and I already gave the other one away, but a little bit quicker. So, but other than that, man, everything's been good with me. So, pertaining to the Philadelphia Eagles, we got a lot to talk about. They've been bringing in different guys on top 30 business. I do not have my list with me. I don't got my computer with me, so I don't have all the information, but I've been on Instagram, things like that, and a lot of positions that they have been targeting would be, I've seen a lot of edge, a lot of cornerback, safety, offensive linemen, defensive tackles. So still trying to stack that line, them trenches. Of course, always trying to make that defense better as well. But after we lost the guys that we lost, we do have to, Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. I know we got guys, stepping up like a Jelix Hunt, Nolan Smith, and Moro Jamo, guys like that. But we still got to plug those other holes, man, because I think a lot of times we forget about depth when it comes to these positions because, even with Jalen Carter, as much as we love that Jalen Carter can play every position, what if he gets injured? You know what I mean? So you got to think about having somebody that can be well-rounded and skilled enough to be able to do that, to do his position, fulfill the needs at that position. So bringing in some guys on these top 30 visits is usually an indication that the Eagles or the Philadelphia Eagles have a strong interest. I will post a list in this video. I do not have the list because I'm on my phone, but I did see it on Instagram, so I will post a list of the top 30 visits and try to keep it all up on the different guys that are coming in. Also try to break down some film, see what I'm seeing. Like I said, I'm no expert in film, but I do see some things that I do like that I feel like the Eagles can usually use on their team or in their offense or defense. One other thing I did want to talk about too was the wide receiver 3 position. I did see Laura Brunson. He put out a video today talking about Jahan Dotson, where Jahan Dotson was I would say Jahan Dotson was a big factor for us in the playoffs. He stepped up, especially in the Super Bowl. He really was a big factor. But with him being, on his last year of his rookie deal, he might try to go find, not to say greener pastures, but you got to think a lot of these guys got Super Bowl championship rings now. You know what I mean? And now, part of the goals are already done. Most people want to, win a championship, but after you win that championship, you still want to get paid. You feel what I'm saying? For somebody to be young like him, I don't know if we'd be able to tie him up. Like I said, he might try to go, look for a different team next year. But I do expect Jahan Dotson to be heavily used in this offense. I also see that they're trying to bring in some other wide receivers, or I don't want to say they're trying to bring in wide receivers, but they were talking about PFF was talking about some different players that wide receivers that could be matched, that could fit the offensive scheme and help offset Devontae Smith and AJ Brown with a single coverage, getting somebody in that slot, because we had a Nye Smith, and I was very high on a Nye Smith, and I still am high on a Nye Smith, coming out there and being that gadget guy in the slot. But with his situation, and then even with Johnny Wilson coming in, not that Johnny would play in the slot or anything like that, but just Johnny Wilson, those guys still need time to develop amongst other players as well. So maybe trying to target somebody in and it just depends on how the draft goes, because I don't want to get too far off topic, but this could be a draft where what we had last year, where maybe we don't have to move at all. Maybe the player that the Philadelphia Eagles are looking for might fall to them. I don't know exactly what they're looking for, but I know there are other teams, like I had seen some news about. So I'm sorry, I'm on vacation. I'm trying to remember all this. But what's my man that played for the Saints? Derek Carr might have I don't know if it's a season-ending injury, but it's going to be an injury where it's going to prolong him from getting, to training camp and things like that, which is going to have him further behind. And, Kellen Moore taking that team over. They're all in they're in, like, I don't want to say cap hell, but they're in cap hell, put it to you like that. So they might be desperate for picks, or, the board can fall any type of way depending on what the team's needs are. So they might be looking for a quarterback. And who's to say, whatever quarterback, I'm not gonna sit there and be like who's good and who's not, but teams need quarterbacks, to build their franchise around, and that's probably gonna be the first thing to go off the board, and then edges as well, because that's been the main thing I heard a lot of people talking about with edge. The edges was who wants to pay an edge $40 million a year. So if they can get somebody like an Abdul Carter, who is another one that has, I think he had a stress fracture in his foot. His agent came out, I think it's Drew Rosenhaus if I'm not mistaken, but he came out and he said it shouldn't affect his draft stock at all. So another generational talent there. But this draft board couldn't fall how it fell last draft, where we ended up getting Quinyon Mitchell, and then even with Cooper DeJean falling into the second round because of his injuries and things like that. But as you see, it paid off for us in the long run. So just depending on what the Philadelphia Eagles want to do. Like I said, I don't know what they're going to do. I can't give you a guesstimate where they're trying to go. But like I said, they've been bringing in edges, defensive tackles, trench help on the offensive line, all types of, and safety as well. Excuse me. So in cornerback, which is I'd say a need as well. I know we do have like Keely Ringo and what's my guy's name? I'm trying to think of my boy. Got the dribs and all that. I can't think of his name right now, but those guys have been coming off the bench and playing. Eli Ricks, been coming off the bench and playing, some minutes here and there when a player's injured and things like that. But Keely Ringo should be the guy that's playing on the other side of Quinyon Mitchell. But clearly the Eagles feel like they need to bring somebody in, and just to keep that competition going on, because you never want a player to think that just because Darius Slay leaving, I'm just moving into that spot. The standard is set now, bro. We don't win the Super Bowl this past year. Even we went to the Super Bowl 3 years ago. So the standard is set that whoever player or whatever player is coming in here, you know what I mean? You have to fight for that spot. You want to keep fighting. You already know how Vic Fangio get down on the defense. If you feel like there's something that you don't have, he will not play. He has said that and he has shown that and proved that. So even the likes of Bryce Huff, where, like I said, I'm not trying to be hard on Bryce Huff, but for the money that he got paid, let's keep it real. Let me make sure I get the scenery back here. My fault. Let's keep it real, though. He needs to perform. So if they do decide to offload him during the draft, which is a thing that the Eagles like to do, they like to make big name trades during the draft. I don't think they did it last year, but the year before that, DeAndre Swift, the AJ Brown trade. So there's different trades, and they have picks to make trades. And like I said, with the way this draft and what the team's needs are prior to us, they might need to get some draft capital. And Howie has 20 plus picks between the next 2 years. So I'm expecting him to do some wiggle room. I know Adam Schefter came out and said he is expecting the Eagles to make a splash move. So depending on what the position is, we probably will see something come. I think the draft is sometime later in April, like April 26th or something like that. But we will probably see a big splash. They also been talking about Justin Simmons, right? Justin Simmons being the safety. He's an older safety. Worked in Vic Fangio's system with Christian Parker when he was playing for Denver. Both of those guys are still here. They're talking about, or the rumor was that they're having him wait off until after the draft because I think they lose a comp pick. I think that's what Eagle Owl says. So shout out to Eagle Owl, and make sure y'all go tune into my man and watch his content, man. So but I did catch that they might lose a comp pick. I don't know if it's this year or this year or next year's draft, but they might possibly lose a comp pick. So they're going to have him wait until after the draft, where they can sign him, and then it'll probably be a cheaper deal on us as well. Maybe a 1-year rental, whatever the case may be, but still an effective player at his age. So I know other people from other teams are talking about, y'all don't win the Super Bowl, y'all done dismantled your team. But I really do have trust and faith in Howie, and then also these coaches, which was a big factor when we went to the Super Bowl. After the first Super Bowl season in 22, in 23 season, I felt like the coaching wasn't in place for most of these players. You weren't playing your Nolan Smiths and like maybe Keely Ringo, whatever the case may be at the time. And now that you got these more experienced coaches coming in here, they really know what they want, what they're looking for. You know what I mean? Now they can give their input and it makes the team even better. You feel what I'm saying? Because now you know what to look for, especially after winning the Super Bowl. You know the type of player that you want, how you want them to come in, how you want them to act, whatever the case may be. You know what you're looking for. You got the template. So they just had to find the right players that fit in those positions. So, but like I said, I got all the faith in the world with Howie Roseman, the front office for the Philadelphia Eagles. I've been out here in Jamaica, man, wearing my Eagles stuff. Some people, you know, I've been getting the looks like, but this is my first time in Jamaica. Shout out to my man OJ, man. Shout out to OJ. Working at the bar. He's a lifelong Eagles fan. He's probably my age, maybe a little younger, but my man pulled out videos. He showed me videos and stuff like that of him wearing all his Eagles gear and stuff like that. So we around the world, we global, man. We global. So we gotta just keep representing everywhere we go, man. Cause I always got my green on. So my fault. Go ahead, you can come out right quick. You okay? Yeah, you want to be in it? Look, my lady here, y'all. She wanted to be in a No Cut Sports podcast video. You want to show your face?
Hi.
You want to show your face? Go ahead.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, what's up? But yeah, so far so good, man. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. But she's telling me it's time to go. We gotta get to a little function. I am the MC for my little cousin. Also, shout out to my cousin Taylor and my cousin Chad. Actually, we call him Swede. I won't call him by, you know what I'm saying? We call my man his nickname. But shout out to my little cousin. So I'm here. That's why I'm here. She's getting married, so I wish him nothing but the best. But we will pick up this conversation, man. It's running on 12 minutes. But I'll get back tomorrow. So please be on the lookout for another video. Talking about more of this stuff in detail. I also wanted to talk about the addition of the offensive coach, not the offensive coach, the offensive QB coach, the addition of him and what he can bring to the table for this Philadelphia offense. Because if you do remember, AJ Brown said we have to keep getting better. We can't really do what we did last year. We have to upgrade and we got to get better. And I feel like he might be between Kevin. Am I saying his name right? Kevin, whoever the new offensive coordinator. I ain't got the information in front of me right now, but the new offensive coordinator, Nick Sirianni, man, and then this the QB coach should really spice this offense up, because I think it's Kevin Patullo. I think Kevin Patullo is somewhat of a decent mind when it comes to the offense. Like I said before, I heard him talking about certain things that he wanted to see in the offense and how he was breaking it down. So if he can bring whatever's in his mind to fruition, I don't think we'll have any worries. And that's going to be a very, very good. That'll be very good for us, because you don't know what to expect from Kevin Patullo. So if he come with that bag, we might be running back to another Super Bowl. I think we will be running back to a Super Bowl. But we'll have more of that. We'll know more after the draft. The draft will tell me what I need to know, and then plus if they make any other, trades, whatever the case may be, before the season, will really let me know. But as you know, we are the Super Bowl champs, and the target is on our back. We are still a great team, and I think we're going back. So with all that being said, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. And as always, it's Nah from the No Cut Sports Podcast. I'm gonna let y'all catch these vibes one more time, man. But y'all already know, man, before we get up out of here, one more time, go Birds, baby. I'ma holla at y'all. Y'all be safe. Catch them rays.